Okay, ISA 520 details what analytical procedures are. And I've just made a note here that you're looking at relationships between balances and transactions that are linked. So example, debtors and sales and credit sales are linked. For example, debtors and your allowance for credit losses are linked. For example, PPE and depreciation are linked. So relationships between like or linked balances and or like or linked transactions and or like or linked balance and transactions. Okay, you could also have a relationship between a transaction and a quantity. So something like the PPE rand amount and the number of PPE items. The more PPE items I have, the higher I expect the PPE costing in the accounting records to be. Same with payroll. The payroll cost and the number of employees. So I can have a relationship that's got financial information and non-financial information, or relationships between two financial items or two non-financial items. Comparisons. So this is doing prior year to the current year, or doing current year to the market to see whether what's happening is actually reasonable within the industry, and all your different ratios. So guys, this is where your MAC comes into auditing, because you can think about some of your MANAC ratios that you could then use to do a comparison with. This ratio in the current year to this ratio in the prior year is going to give me some evidence about what's actually taking place in the current year. Alright, so any of my ratios like debtors days, inventory days, current ratio. Thinking in terms of your auditing, Companies Act, solvency and liquidity. Okay, all of these are different ratios that are going to help us to either understand whether they're complying with laws and regulations, like with solvency and liquidity, and or just to help us understand, are they moving inventory quickly, or is it slow, in which case it potentially needs to be written down. Are the debtors paying as fast as we paying our creditors? If not, there could be a concern with working capital. So analytical procedures, guys, we've already said that these are general, or we should include them as general procedures, because there are always going to be about 3 to 4 marks available. And I don't need to know too much information to be able to do an analytical, because if I know what balance or transaction I have to audit, I can think of a related balance or transaction. I can think of doing a comparison to the prior year or to the markets. I can think up a ratio. So I can get these marks out quickly. We also know that we must do analytical procedures to test assumptions for estimates, and specifically doing a market-related comparison is going to help me to see if the assumptions are reasonable. So the key with analytical procedures is they don't give me detailed evidence. That's why they're not called test of detail. They give me reasonable and reasonability evidence. Does this seem to make sense based on what happened in the prior year? Does this seem to make sense based on the link between this balance and the transaction that I've already audited. And so that's why we say, when we chose our approach in the planning stage, if we chose to go with a combined approach, because we were going to test the controls and get evidence through testing controls, we could do analytical procedures to give us some evidence about the reasonability of that balance or transaction, and then just limited test of detail because I've got evidence from controls and now reasonability testing. But if I were to have chosen to go a substantive approach, then I can't only rely on reasonable evidence. So that's why I would do less analyticals and more test of detail, because I need to get evidence, and a reasonability test is not sufficient evidence. So I've just put this down here under the class of transaction assertions or account balances, what assertions you would do analytical procedures for. So guys, this is in case a question says to you, I only want you to give me substantive procedures for valuation. Then just include the analytical procedures here for valuation or under completeness, where you compare the list in the prior year to the current year to identify missing. That is an analytical procedure. And so I can do the same then for the class of transaction assertions. Okay, and for valuation and accuracy, because you want to see if these assumptions are actually reasonable. So it gives me some evidence about a rand amount by doing any kind of comparison or relationship or ratio to give me some evidence. Okay, the standard isn't very helpful, guys. Let's have a look at it nonetheless. So here we've got ISA 520, analytical procedures. And the objectives is to see if we can get relevant and reliable evidence doing these analytical procedures. I've highlighted A1 to A3 because it explains what analytical procedures are. So let's go have a look. It says it's considerations of comparison, so comparables to the prior period. Anticipated results or budgets, so doing a comparison with the budget or a forecast, or looking at the market, similar industry information. Then also says it's relationships, so looking at items that have a relationship where you can predict how you expect one transaction to grow based on another or to decline based on another. But it also says it's between financial and potentially non-financial information. So example, payroll costs to the number of employees. The more employees, the higher I expect the payroll cost. The reduction in employees, I expect a reduction in the payroll costs. Okay, so what are requirements? Substantive analytical procedures can be either done alone or combination with test of details, and it refers you to ISA 330, which is where you go and develop the audit plan. And it says you need to look at the suitability of the analytical procedure, the reliability of the data that you're getting. You need to have some sort of expectation, and so that you can go and see if your analytical is actually reasonable. Okay, so when I go and compare the prior year to the current year, and I see that there has been a significant increase in the current year from the prior year, I need to have expected that for it to make sense. But if I expected it to decrease and it's significantly increased, then I don't understand what's going on, and that's when we've got to go and do additional work to follow up. So you have to have some sort of expectation when you do this analytical in order to determine if it is actually reasonable. Okay, let's go have a look at A6, which tells me if it is suitable. It says it's going to be more suitable when there is a large volume of transactions where we can predict over time. So that's why, guys, remember we said we generally are going to do increased analyticals when we have chosen to go a combined approach. And remember, we choose to go a combined approach where we're going to test controls generally when there is a large volume of transactions, because that is when they would have controls. Because they only implement controls where there are a large volume of transactions. Think about your finance and investment cycle. They don't have controls there. They don't have a cycle that details and splits the functions by multiple documents, because it doesn't happen very often. Okay, so this is just your thought process. It's not something you're going to write down. You are going to write down the actual analytical procedure, which is going to be your comparison or your relationship.
Okay, and then when we get to the concluding stage at a later test,
we can use analytical procedures when we are forming our overall conclusions, and all we're saying is at year end now, when we have the actual balances and transactions in the financials, because they've adjusted to make sure that what they are going to be including in the financials is what we've got, you can then go and do analytical procedures again, because you may have different figures when you do your planning to when you actually are reporting. Okay, when we then investigate the results for these, guys, often you won't have to do this. You would just put down the substantive procedure, which is your comparison. Compare debtors in the current year to debtors in the prior year for reasonability. That's it. But ultimately, if we were required to go a step further, if we had inconsistencies in the work that we did, so the result of the analytical is not what we expected, we are going to have to inquire with management and then go and perform other procedures like test of details to find out why there is this inconsistency. Cool. That's analytical procedures. So next is estimates.